Please introduce yourself to everybody taking part in this launch tonight.
Hi everyone, my name is Kulieshov.
What was your role in the creation of the children's book, Mikah's Big Move?
I illustrated the book, the cover for this book, and made the final layout with the text.
Can you tell everybody how did you get started as an illustrator?
I always loved drawing, so I think I always knew that I would be an artist. I realized it clearly when I graduated the university as an electrophysicist. I realized that I didn't want to connect my life with physics and decided to leave it as a hobby for myself. I decided that I wanted to do things that I was always interested in, more than other things, drawing, but on a professional level. Then I seriously engaged in drawing. I spent all my money to buy graphic equipment and I began to study graphics while working in the supermarket. A year later, I started doing the first commercial work as an artist.
Where in the world are you located?
At the moment, I live in Kharkiv in Ukraine.
What is your job and what do you love to do apart from illustrating?
My main work for today is the motion design and 2D graphics. The first one I'm just starting, this is a new stage in my life. I do animation and I want to come to the creation of full-fledged cartoons in future. And the second one is all about drawing. I draw illustrations for books, stories, I also paint scenes and backgrounds for animations, create characters, I also draw concepts for further production in 3D. In addition to the work of the artist and animator, I still enjoy working with technical equipment as a hobby. I like to tinker with computers and chips to study their structure and sometimes repair old broken things, but I often do not have much free time for this.
How long have you been illustrating professionally and what other skills do you use in your work?
I've been a professional artist for about 5 years. During this time, the concept of the artist's work has significantly expanded for me and there was a need to develop my skills. I'm learning a lot now and I can say that I do full-fledged work in different areas: the motion design in a full 2D and 3D animation, drawing by hand, modeling in 3D editors, video production, illustration, character design, texturing and much more in these areas. I had to study a lot and learn how to quickly work in a huge number of professional softwares for artists and developers.
Thank you. Alex, when you get hired to illustrate a book, what is the first thing you do?
I try to know as many details of the project as possible. First of all, I should like the book because my name will be associated with the works for this book. It is also important for me that a new project would be kind of a challenge, so I could do something new for myself and continue learning in the process of work. And finally, after reading the book, I imagine the world that I would like to create for this book. I do a test task with my design, and if our tastes with the author match, then I take such a project.
It seems that creating so many characters and so many scenes would take a long time. How long does it take you to complete a picture book project?
It's hard to say. Different work takes a different amount of time. Of course, the more time you spend on each one, the better this work will be. But I have to find a compromise, because for commercial illustrations there are always deadlines. Therefore, I sometimes sacrifice some small things in favor of speed. This is not always a bad thing, because I keep only the things which are important for understanding the plot. If we talk about the timing of my previous projects, then it's about 1 or 2 days for one illustration.
Can you tell us how do you go about designing a character? Is it a combined effort with the author or do you do that yourself?
Of course, I try to know from the author as much as possible about the characters that need to be drawn. The authors often show me the works of other artists they liked. At this point, I am trying to define a graphic style that will clearly show the personalities of the characters. A lot of things about the character is told by his story in the book. It helps to come up with an expressive graphic image. I make several drawings with characters that I see in my head and show them to the author. The author makes his edits or wishes, after which I bring them into the images that were found in the process of work.
How would you describe your style?
I think I'm still looking for my own favorite style, but I did the work for this book using one of my favorite vector techniques. It allows me to better control the color and shape, which are very important for children's work, and to keep harmonious color scheme and good silhouettes of characters.
What do you most like about illustrating?
Most of all, I like to experiment in the process of work. Illustrating allows me to use an infinite variety of different images and emotions that appear in my head and combine them with my knowledge that I get from different sources. I love it when the result of my work matches the expectations and the time spent.
A lot of writers, artists, and the like report having interesting things they do to help them focus. Do you have any quirky, unique habits when you are working?
Probably not. I'm always motivated by the successful work of other artists. Usually I just do what needs to be done to become better. I often find lectures of some famous artists who inspire me and listen to them in the process of work.
Today we are launching the first book in the Mikah Ken series, the book titled Mikah's Big Move. Let's talk a little about the book now. What made you decide to work on the Mikah project?
I like the book and its characters. The character Mikah was a very interesting experience for me. It was necessary to draw a very joyful and restless, in fact, child. At the same time, he couldn't hear, so communicated in sign language, and combined these two features with a whole spectrum of different emotions that set the mood in each scene, whether it's a dramatic moment or a funny one. Also, the book is very kind, and I believe it brings up good traits in children.
Tell us about the creation of Mikah's Big Move, which we are launching tonight.
It was a great experience for me as an artist and illustrator. The main work was done on the communication between the characters, how they behave with each other. If you can notice, the backgrounds in many works have been simplified to pay the spectators' attention to the relationship of the main characters that develop according to the plot. I tried to make colorful and interesting illustrations for the environment for children, but at the same time, so that the environment didn't influence watching the main characters, it was necessary to reduce the number of details. Characters all look similar because they are all one family, but at the same time there are details that make them very different and individual.
Do you have a favorite character in the book? One that you enjoyed illustrating more than the others?
Of course, it's Mikah. There was the most of him in the book, and he will not give boredom both to the reader and to the illustrator. Also, I like to draw Mikah's sister Maisie. She is the best friend of the main character who always supports him and tries to protect him.
How did you come up with the characters and design for this book?
I imagined the characters almost as soon as I read the book. Then it was necessary to get these images out of the head with minimal changes. It is also very important to work with the author at this stage to direct the artist to the right side. Tabitha helped a lot in the development of the characters, both with her advice and with the bright images described in the book.
You would have read the book as you were illustrating it. What is your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part is the dramatic moment when Mikah didn't want to leave his favorite place and everyone was almost gone without him. But he agreed at the last moment and ran up to his mom. This is the important moment in plot when Mikah goes from a state of denial to a state of consent.
What is the most important thing to you about Mikah's Big Move, and what do you hope children will take away from it?
The most important is that this book teaches not to be afraid of something new, not to be afraid of changes in your life. In my country, many people are unhappy because they are hesitant and can hardly change their lives. I think that this courage must be developed from childhood, and this book teaches us not to be afraid.
What do you hope children take away from your work in this book?
My work is aimed at strengthening the plot with visual images. I hope that children will love and remember these characters and the story together with them.
Do you think you will work on future Mikah Monkey books, should the opportunity be offered?
Yes, of course I would be glad to continue developing this story. I hope to make it even better and do even more good work for Tabitha if there is such an opportunity.
Is there anything else you would like to tell people watching and interested about the book?
Despite the fact that the book is designed for children's audience, it teaches very correct things. Even an adult can learn from Mikah's courage. For a child, this can be an invaluable life experience in the future when he will have to make important decisions in life. Also, the book is very kind and positive, easy to read and full of funny moments.
Can you give some advice to any illustrators out there who may be looking to become a children's book illustrator? How hard is it to break into the industry worldwide, and where you're located? Is it harder in some parts of the world?
My most important advice is to work on yourself without stop, learn new things, set goals. As for children's work, it is very important to control color well. Children's work should be very colorful, but should not break up into pieces because of the amount of colors. You need to correctly use the color accents and introduce colors that blend well with each other. Yes, it seems to me that the most important and difficult in children's work is color. Where I am, it's quite difficult to break into industry due to the fact that you have to learn a lot yourself. Also, the language barrier. English is not my native language like Russian or Ukrainian, and Ukrainians often do not speak English well, so it's quite hard to work with foreigners. But as for the whole world, if you love your work and do it well, then you will never be left without work. Always do your work well and learn new things, and the work will find you.
Thank you so very much for joining us tonight for the launch of Mikah's Big Move. We appreciate your time and you're doing this interview. It was great to learn about the men behind the pictures. They are fantastic. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you everyone for your attention. Have a nice day.